For over 2,000 years, one sacred hill has stood at the crossroads of faith, power, and prophecy. The Temple Mount in Jerusalem, known to Jews as Har Habayit, to Muslims as Haram al-Sharif, and to the world as one of the holiest, most contested places on earth. But buried beneath its limestone platform, beneath centuries of prayer and bloodshed, lies a mystery no one dared to touch, not because it was lost, but because uncovering it could tear open old wounds and rewrite human history. In 2023, a team of archaeologists found something beneath the Temple Mount that was never meant to be found. Sealed chambers, ancient rituals, and an inscription so chilling it stunned believers and skeptics alike. This isn't myth. This isn't prophecy. This is real, and it changes everything. You can excavate almost any ancient site on Earth, except this one. The Temple Mount is 35 acres of contested holiness in the heart of Jerusalem's Old City. It's where Solomon is said to have built the first temple, where the Ark of the Covenant once rested, where Jesus preached, where Muhammad ascended to heaven. 3 faiths, 1 hill, 0 tolerance for disturbance. For Jews, the Mount is the location of the Holy of Holies, the most sacred chamber on earth. Jewish law forbids even stepping on certain parts of the plaza for fear of unintentionally trespassing on holy ground. For Muslims, it's home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Golden Dome of the Rock, Islam's 3rd holiest site. Control of the compound is overseen by the Jordanian Islamic Waqf, fiercely protective of any activity beneath the surface. And for archaeologists, the Temple Mount is the ultimate do not enter sign, because digging here doesn't just threaten the ground, it threatens to ignite global chaos. But sometimes secrets escape anyway. In the late 1990s, during unauthorized renovations on the Mount, hundreds of truckloads of dirt were quietly excavated and dumped into the nearby Kidron Valley. No permits, no documentation, just centuries of history scattered like trash. Most would have ignored it, but one team of Israeli archaeologists saw gold in the rubble. In 2004, they launched the Temple Mount Sifting Project, an effort to painstakingly sift through every ounce of that discarded soil by hand. What they found was staggering. Pottery from the First Temple period, arrowheads from the Crusader era, Islamic coins, Byzantine artifacts, thousands upon thousands of relics, 500,000 and counting, representing over 3,000 years of uninterrupted human activity on the Mount. And buried among them, signs of something sacred, a bulla, a clay seal impression used to authenticate scrolls, bearing the name Ga'alyahu, son of Immer, a priestly figure mentioned in the book of Jeremiah. Another bulla, and another. Names from scripture, not myth. Now etched in clay, dated and confirmed. Oil lamps, animal bones, incense, shovels blackened by aromatic blends. Not just tools, but temple tools. And then, a whisper from the past. An ivory comb etched with one of the oldest complete Canaanite sentences ever discovered. Words about purity, hygiene, and ritual. The dirt had spoken, and it was only the beginning. By 2021, curiosity had evolved into obsession. A new team of researchers blending ancient maps with modern tech set their eyes on the southern edge of the Temple Mount, near the western wall. Though direct digging remained forbidden, technology offered a loophole. Ground-penetrating radar, the same kind used to detect hidden voids inside the pyramids, began to reveal strange anomalies beneath the limestone. Voids, staircases, symmetry where nature shouldn't exist. They cross-checked the radar data with forgotten British mandate maps from the early 1900s, and the match was perfect. Blocked passageways, hollow chambers, something man-made, something ancient. So they dug, not on the Mount itself, but just outside its legal boundary, inside a Herodian-era tunnel already under permitted excavation. And there, buried beneath rubble and silence, they found a staircase, carved into limestone, leading down. At the bottom, a forgotten chamber. Its upper walls bore faded Christian crosses, Byzantine, likely 4th or 5th century. The space had once been a place of worship, but what lay beneath the floor told a different story. Massive, finely cut ashlar stones, a hallmark of First Temple construction, the same style used at Solomon's Gates in Megiddo. The Byzantine church hadn't just been built here, it had been built on top of something else, something older, something sacred. And sealed beneath it, a secondary staircase, half collapsed, deliberately blocked by human hands, as if someone had tried to bury it permanently. In 2023, the team reached the end of that staircase. It led to a chamber barely 10 feet across, smooth walls, bedrock carved with unsettling precision. In the center sat a stone basin, shallow, round, and half buried in ash. Around it, offerings, Oil lamps, incense fragments, charred remains, undisturbed, unlooted, untouched for millennia. But it was the inscription that froze the room. Etched in Paleo-Hebrew across the basin's edge were the words, "He who dwells here, his spirit never leaves." The researchers fell silent. This wasn't poetry, it was scripture, and it mirrored ancient descriptions of the Holy of Holies, the innermost sanctuary of Solomon's temple, where the divine presence, the Shekinah, was believed to dwell. This was the space no one could enter, where only the high priest stepped once a year on Yom Kippur, a place so sacred, tradition says, that entering it improperly could mean death, and now it had been found. The chamber's location wasn't the only revelation. As the researchers mapped surrounding voids, they uncovered something even more astonishing: a water system. Carved into bedrock, coated with waterproof plaster, interconnected cisterns, aqueducts, and flow channels. But these weren't Roman. They weren't Herodian. Carbon dating placed them in the First Temple period, 8th to 9th century BCE, and their design, decades ahead of their time. Overflow controls, pressure balancing, flow diversion. This was advanced hydraulic engineering tailored for one purpose: sacred use. Several of the channels aligned perfectly with descriptions in the Book of Chronicles: purification basins, sacrificial water systems, and ritual wash stations. This wasn't primitive religion. This was logistical holiness, a machine of worship built from stone and water, functioning with mathematical precision. Sacred infrastructure designed to support the daily rituals of the ancient priesthood. And all of it pointed back to one zone: the chamber they had just unsealed. Word of the find didn't hit the headlines. It leaked quietly through academic forums, private institutions, and hush-hush government briefings. Why? Because this wasn't just a discovery. It was a powder keg. To Jewish leaders, the find confirmed a sacred truth, but also crossed a dangerous line. Entering the Holy of Holies without ritual purification is forbidden, and some mourned rather than celebrated. To many Muslims, any suggestion of First Temple remains under the Dome of the Rock is politically and religiously incendiary. Claims like this have sparked riots before. The stakes are that high. And to Christians, the site has long been seen as prophetic ground, a stage for divine return. To them, this was a sign. Governments tread carefully. No press conferences, no official confirmation, just controlled whispers and delayed reactions. But behind closed doors, a new race is on. Muon imaging, non-invasive particle scanning, is being proposed to map remaining chambers. Ancient texts are being reanalyzed. And quietly, the archaeological world is holding its breath, because for the first time in modern history, we may be looking not at myth or metaphor, but the actual room where heaven was believed to touch the earth. This isn't just archaeology. It's identity, memory, faith turned to stone. The Temple Mount has always been the center of sacred silence, but now it's speaking. Not in scripture, not in sermons, in ash, clay, stone, and blood. And whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or something in between, one truth has emerged. Something real was buried beneath the mount. Not just symbols, not just stories, but a sacred space carved by human hands, sealed by reverence, and hidden by fear. A space that, according to the people who built it, once held the very presence of God. And now, that door is opening again. What do you think? Could this be the most significant religious archaeological discovery of the century? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story as mind-blowing as we did, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible true stories, and share this with someone who needs to know what was just found under the Temple Mount. Until next time, stay curious.